Kia ora. Well, if I stand here, things don't look too bad across New Zealand, but you can see if I move out the way, this area of low pressure is still close by, and that continues to drive more wet weather in towards this eastern part of the country now. Through the last day or so, we've seen as much as 100 millimetres of rainfall up through the ranges of Tairāwhiti, and as we head through the rest of today for Friday, we'll carry on seeing that wet weather pushing through, particularly in towards places like the Wairoa district, those northern parts of Hawke's Bay, and up in towards parts of Tairāwhiti. Now, the good news for those areas is that rain should start to ease off, but we are going to keep hold of a heavy rain warning for the Wairoa district with these southerly winds keeping that rain feeding through there. Also pretty windy around those eastern areas. You can see though, for the rest of New Zealand, plenty of clear sky. Not a bad looking at night for places like Auckland, that western side of the Northland, and for many spots on the Southland, things are looking pretty decent as well. We have still got a few severe weather watches and warnings. Now, most of these should expire as we head through the afternoon on Friday, around about 2 o'clock or so for the wind watches out through Marlborough, parts of Wellington and the Kapiti Coast, Taranaki as well. Those are all expiring as we head through to the afternoon. As that low pressure starts to pull away, the wind should start to ease off for you. However, we have still got this heavy rain warning there for the Wairoa district. That's set to persist through till midday tomorrow, till about noon on Saturday, and we'll keep hold of those wind watches around the likes of, say, the Hawke's Bay coast and also the Tairāwhiti Gisborne coast as well, through to about 4 AM on Saturday morning. Those strong southerlies, particularly in those exposed areas, may reach severe gale, so something to watch out for through there. Now, heading through and towards tomorrow. Well, the good news is this low pressure pulls away from most New Zealand. Still rather blustery and windy and wet through the Chatham Islands, but things are looking better for most of New Zealand as we head through the daytime. Like I say, we'll keep hold of that wet weather through the night time up in towards Wairoa, but nothing too cold across the North Island. Down to around about 10 degrees Celsius at the coast, perhaps a few spots down through Canterbury back to 6s and 7s. Now, for Saturday, this brief ridge of high pressure builds across the country. We start to find things easing off of this eastern side as well, and the winds easing through the Chatham Islands as well. We'll find that there's plenty of dry, bright, sunny weather across most of New Zealand. There's more cloud around this eastern coast and still that wet weather to clear away from the Wairoa district. And for the Southland, plenty of sunshine as well, pretty high temperatures down south, but you can see this next one is edging closer towards us, bringing some wet weather back towards Fiordland and the far southern parts of Southland and Stewart Island by the end of the day on Saturday. But for many of us, it's not a bad looking story. For the North Island, we'll keep more cloud running up through the likes of Wairapa, Hawke's Bay, and up in towards Gisborne, Tairāwhiti. We've got that wet weather up in towards Mahia as well, and those stronger winds, they'll ease off. But for the rest of the North Island, it's a pretty decent looking Saturday. Not a bad looking all weekend there. Auckland, Northland, out towards the Coromandel, the Bear, plenty of clear sky and sunshine for you. Not a bad looking day. Even down towards Wellington, early cloud clears off and you've got a decent looking day. A little bit warmer than today as well. Highs of 19 in Wellington, but you can see widely across the North Island a pretty decent story. Highs though of 28 in Tauranga. A fine looking story through there. Not a bad story up towards the Coromandel as well, with similar kind of temperatures. Down on the Southland, well again for many of us, it's a fine looking day. Plenty of clear sky and sunshine. Perhaps a little bit of early morning cloud around the coastal parts of Canterbury. That clears off. And for much of the day, it's fine, dry, sunny, and those temperatures climb as well, particularly through these central parts of Hawke's Bay, which might be just enough to spark off an odd isolated shower through the evening time, but you'll be really unlucky to catch that. Most of the wet weather, what we have and across the country, will be down south. You can see that rain pushing in towards Fiordland and perhaps making its way up as far north as Invercargill and those far southern parts of Southland by the end of the day. But even here, just turning cloudier through the daytime more than anything else. A fine looking day in Dunedin, plenty of clear sky and sunshine, a touch more cloud towards the end of the afternoon. Those temperatures though will be a pretty good talking point. Highs back to around about 28 degrees Celsius in Queenstown. Head inland towards places like, say, well, Alexandra. You could find highs back to 32, 31 degrees Celsius through there. Perhaps just pushing us up towards that heat alert level, just through the top 1% of temperatures we normally see. But you can see across the Southland, temperatures quite pleasant indeed. Highs back to around about 20 degrees Celsius in Christchurch. Not the warmest day by any stretch of the imagination, but you don't have to go too far inland to find those temperatures a little bit warmer still. Looking ahead in towards Sunday, well, we will find this rainfall continuing on its northward journey up the South Island. For the North Island, that final bits of cloud clear away from the eastern coast, plenty of drier, brighter, sunnier weather there. We'll start to find a little bit more cloud pushing in towards the west, but I think for most of us on Sunday on the North Island, it's a dry day. In fact, the weekend for many spots on the North Island looking pretty decent. This rain runs up the country, up the South Island through Saturday, heaviest on the western coast. We will find there's a bit of patchy rain makes its way towards the east, but I think most of it will be on that western coast. Nelson, Marlborough, great looking weekend for you as well. Start to find a few more showers back in the far southern parts of the country by the end of the day on Sunday. But I think for many of us, the weekend isn't looking too shabby. Just keep an eye on that front to the south and the last of that rain to clear away from the eastern coast. That's it from me. Kia pai te rā.